What is happening? The markets are melting down, or is that people's perception based on really not understanding deeply what is transpiring here in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, the financial markets? So that's what I'm here to do. My job is to keep you calm, to keep you stoic, and to keep you in that Warren Buffett style type of investment. Long term, fundamental, and having a game plan. So in today's video, I'm going to break down what I believe is happening with the meltdown with the markets and where I think it's going to go as we move forward. And on the back end, I'm going to share with you my exact strategy on exactly what I do. I love the red markets. Red is where you get wealthy, green is where you pull profits. So we're going to break that down today. So everybody's panicking, people are freaking out. We're keeping our warriors calm. We're keeping them stoic because we're not in this to get rich quick. That is the biggest issue with cryptocurrency and the large price appreciation that you can get. Remember this: money compounds every 7 years at 10%. Einstein, eighth wonder of the world. Okay. But there's these moments and times where a new asset class comes in, innovation comes in, where that model gets blown out of the water. And what happens is people get that in their head that they're going to get 5x, 10x, 20x. And you have all these influencers throwing out these crazy price predictions. And what it does is it skews people's brains out of how nature actually works. But yes, there's moments and times like this where we can make a large amount of money in a short amount of time. But if you've never had wealth before and you don't understand how to richest man in Babylon this cash flow quadrant, what goes up, boom, will come down, and what was will be gone. So let's dive in. So the first thing I want to show you guys is just to keep you calm, right? The markets are going to bounce back. This is not the bear market. Gonzo inside of our academy is keeping everybody nice and calm. This is not the bear market, guys. The alt season is not over. Bitcoin's not going to zero, right? These are all the things that people are putting out there. You saw Bo Hines step down. He went to go work with Tether, right? So Tether's going to be brought into America. It's more of a foreign country. They're going to cut in foreign countries, they're bringing it in to America. He's trying to bring Tether into America. You got Ripple stablecoin. You got Trump's USD1 stablecoin. I'm going to show you that states, banks are going to have stable coins. The OCC is working with cryptocurrency. The SEC is working with cryptocurrency. But it's a very thin market, guys. You're going to see a ton of volatility. So when these markets go down, I love it because I know what I hold, and I'll break that down on the back end of the video. I am stoic. I believe in my XRP. I believe in my Bitcoin. I believe in my cash value life insurance, and there's a whole strategy behind what I do. But this is what's spooking the market right now, okay? So Bitcoin drops below 114. Today it's sitting at 112. This was yesterday they posted this. Ether loses 4.2K, and Jackson Hole's speech might bring hawkish surprise. So the bubble in crypto treasury strategy companies deflate even further on Tuesday, right? Crypto markets have dropped further as investors grow cautious ahead of the Federal Reserve Jerome Powell's Friday Jackson Hole speech. Bitcoin fell below 114%, down 9% below its Thursday record high, with a number of altcoins seeing an even steeper decline. Investors are reconsidering the likelihood of the Federal Reserve rate cut in September, especially after a stronger than expected PPI report raised inflation concerns. Okay, so here's what's happening at a simplistic level. Okay, Jerome Powell's in this tough position right now. Okay, if he lowers rates, in his goggles, it's going to ignite inflation, right? Inflation's getting under control, right? Remember, you lost 19% of your purchasing power in Bidenomics. Now it's under control. And so if he lowers rates, in his goggles, it's going to ignite inflation, okay? But Trump feels with all the tariffs, inflation is going to stay under control. But on the other hand, the American public is all debt, right? They trapped you in this system. That's why you got to understand this. I wish they taught this in school. If I asked you, what is inflation? Would you know what inflation is? If you don't beat, it's inflation is the erosion of your dollar's value. Okay. It feels like things are getting more expensive. Your value of your dollar just keeps getting eroded. If you don't beat 2% inflation every single year with your pay raise, then you actually are poor by doing nothing. What we are doing, we're transmuting, and the Trump family's transmuting. The third wealthiest person in Mexico is transmuting. Robert Kiyosaki, Ray Dalio, Kathy Woods, they're transmuting into these deflationary assets that have fixed supplies. The system is changing. Okay. But we're in the middle of this. If you looked at the long term, Bitcoin's crushing every single asset class like this. But we're inside of this. We're like this. You have to remain stoic. You have to remain calm. Okay. So here's Treasury Secretary. We're going to just watch a couple minutes of this. I am going to predict, and I'm 1000% okay with being wrong, that Trump is going to go ballistic, that Jerome Powell is going to hold rates steady. I'm going to say that. I hope he doesn't. I kind of hope he does because I get more buy-in. I like red, guys. I love red, and I'll explain that on the back end of this video, okay? And I'm hoping I can train your brain that way because red is where I got wealthy. The red markets is where I get wealthy. For example, the market's been way down. I bought more of my dividends. I bought more XRP. I bought more Bitcoin. I didn't think I was going to get crypto or XRP under $3 again. I was like, yes. Okay, so we're going to listen to this short video. Now, this is about Treasury Secretary Bassett saying, hey, listen, he should be lowering rates, but Jerome Powell has a completely different lens on.
The president was pretty clear yesterday, put out this comment, Jerome too late, Powell must now lower the interest rate. Is it reasonable to give them a bit more time to draw conclusions about what's happening here?
Well, I think what we could see is that, first of all, what if the BLS data had been the higher quality and we'd had those numbers, Jonathan? So if we'd seen those numbers in May, in June, I suspect we could have had rate cuts in June and July. So that tells me that there's a very good chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. And I think President Trump is very good at giving these nicknames. And I think the reason that the Jay Powell gets the nickname too late is because he wants to go into a series of rate hikes. He's not willing. He's not Alan Greenspan, who was very forward thinking. They try to be more data driven, which I think is a mistake, because I think we are going back into an economy like we had in the 90s. So, it's just very old fashioned thinking. But I do think we could go into a series of rate cuts here, starting with a 50 basis point rate cut in September.
Okay, so now this is the issue. He doesn't decide. Jerome Powell decides. The Fed board decides, right? So the Fed board and Powell are like, they're data driven, right? So based on this data, we're going to do this. Trump and Bassett are future driven, right? The tariffs are going to bring a bunch of income into the markets, right? You're going to see peace deals come in, right? You're going to see public and private sector come together. So based on looking futuristically, it's bullish, right? And if they lower rates, it's going to help people refinance debt, increase their cash flow. Unfortunately, the people are going to buy more stuff, but they want the rates lowered. Jerome Powell's lens is no. Okay, so that's the issue. So Jerome Powell, if he doesn't lower rates, it's going to really affect the American people because people are screwed, guys. Go look at the consumer credit, how much consumer credit there is. Consumer credit card debt's at an all-time high. Every single dollar in the system is debt. So do you see how I formed my strategy? Let's go a little bit further here, okay? So now this is the stuff that I focus on because the short-term volatility is just part of the game, guys. Everything in nature has a wave of energy. Nothing has a straight line. This is the game. Nothing goes straight up. Nothing goes straight down. It always is going to come back.
Crypto is going to be the future of finance.
Yeah.
Okay. We were doing everything imaginable in the prior administration to send that to other places. People want to be in America. They want to invest in America. They want that stability. What they needed is some guide rails. They needed a framework in which they could work, even for us in the crypto platforms that we were developing, whether it was American Bitcoin, whether it's World Liberty Financial. We didn't get into that because we knew all that much about crypto. We got into it out of necessity because we were getting debanked. There wasn't a person in this city that I couldn't call and get a loan for a real estate project a few short years ago. Then we became political and all of a sudden you're persona non grata. So crypto's the future. To be able to have the legislation to create those guardrails, to be able to keep that industry, this is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and it should be based here in America. America should get the tax benefits of all of that. They should have the innovation, the growth. That's strategic thinking, and so I'm super excited about that bill because I think it's going to really make sure that America is the home of crypto and blockchain technology for the.
Okay, so America is going to be the crypto capital of the world. So what I would do is I'd put your helmet on. I'd put your shoulder pads on. I'd put some pillows around you and get ready for the pinball machine, guys. Literally, get ready for the pinball machine and keep your eyes forward and pay attention to what's actually happening. So the OCC, community banks can partner with companies developing stablecoins to foster innovation and offer new products. The OCC will review and update as necessary its regulatory supervisory approach to ensure support innovation in banking and the vitality of community banks. Wyoming becomes the first U.S. state to launch a stablecoin, FRNT, backed by USD treasuries, though not yet available to the public. This is your new SEC chairman. I had a great conversation with Teresa Goody and SALT Conference, Wyoming Blockchain Synopsis, today about my priorities at the SEC.gov, including Project Crypto and making IPOs great again. It's a new day at the SEC. Okay. So I call myself, if you're in my academy, I have what's called an investment thesis. I'm a Warren Buffett style investor. This is what's made me financially free. And I'll give you a specific example to make it very clear. When Ripple was sued by the SEC on December 20th, 2020, everybody ran from it. I went all in on it. I was like, no. I believe in XRP. I believe in Ripple, the company. And I went all in. And if people listen to me and what I did in 2020, your portfolio would be up almost 800% since then. So after this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but it's called conviction. Okay, you're in the pinball machine right now. You got to pull yourself to a 30,000 foot overview and look at these markets. 30,000 foot overview. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of the get rich quick mentality. Get out of the meme coin casino. It's all bullshit. You don't want to get rich quick. You want to get wealthy for sure by building a foundation. You got to be patient. You got to be persistent. Nothing is built quickly, guys. The next 6 years is what you should be focused on, not this bull run. The next 6 years. So let's listen to Warren Buffett. Okay. And then I'll share with you exactly what I'm doing.
This philosophy for years. It's no secret.
It's no secret.
Why doesn't everybody do it?
Well, it requires patience, which a lot of people don't have. And people would much rather be promised that they're going to win a lottery ticket next week than that they're going to get rich slowly. Gus Levy used to say that he was long-term greedy, not short-term greedy. And if you're short-term greedy, you probably won't get a very good long-term result.
You've said they could close the New York Stock Exchange for 2 years and you wouldn't care. Can you explain that?
We own parts of businesses when we own stocks. And the New York Stock Exchange being open has nothing to do whether the Washington Post is getting more valuable over a 5 or 10 year period. And what we want to do is be right on the business. If we're right on the business, the market will take care of itself. And if the stock exchange closes on Saturday and Sunday, and I don't break out in hives, so if it closes for a couple of years and the business does well, we'll do very well.
Boom. Simple. Okay. That's why I call myself a Warren Buffett style investor. Let me explain. Okay. So this is the current markets right now. You see them going down, right? Warren Buffett doesn't care about this. Okay. This is Merlin, smartest way to track your crypto. I'm the co-founder, creator. I'll explain that in just a moment. It's called profit taking. Okay. As he talked about. Now, I know when I own XRP, I don't own Ripple, but I still look at these technologies as real world solves like companies. Okay. I buy XRP every single day. I buy Bitcoin every single day. I don't listen to other people's opinion or emotion. I look at facts, figures, numbers, logic. I know that 95% of the supply of Bitcoin is gone. 5% is left. I know that some of the richest, wealthiest people in the world are running into this, sprinting into this asset class. It will be the most scarce asset class in the world. If somebody holds one Bitcoin, there's less than 1 million people in the world holding one Bitcoin. If someone held 1.1 Bitcoin, you're in the top echelon in the population. Okay. So Bitcoin is one of the most scarce assets in the world. And the top 5 holders, Satoshi, we don't know who that is. That's kind of weird, right? BlackRock, Strategy B, Grayscale, and US. BlackRock is the number 3 holder in Strategy B, which is MicroStrategies now, which is a Bitcoin treasury. So I'm not going to listen to some YouTuber and some TikToker. I'm going to find out what the big money is doing and where they're positioning themselves. And the very people that told me to run from it now own a ton of it and almost own 5% of the supply total. Crazy, right? It's logic. It happens all the time. They get us drunk in the Coliseum. They clip our coins. First annuity was created in the Roman days. The system has always been the system. Okay. The 1% has always remained the 1%. So Bitcoin, okay, we got Bitcoin over here. Then I do Warren Buffett style investing in things like XRP, XLM, HBAR, VChain, Solana. All the ones I'm mentioning have real world solves. They're layer ones. You got payment tokens. You have supply chain, right? I don't invest in something. People come to me all the time. What do you think about this token? I haven't thought about it. If I haven't dove into it, I'm not even going to touch it. I'm not going to invest in it unless I understand it. Okay, so I built a really strict fundamental crypto portfolio. So when it's red like the last couple of days and it's red today, I'm dollar cost averaging in on the way down. It's calmly. And when it goes green, boom, I use my exit strategy to pull profits. I'm in this to help my family build wealth. Okay, so I focus on 4 things. Cash flow, cash is trash. I talk to you guys about inflation. If you don't beat inflation every single year, okay, of 2%, you become poor. So if your boss doesn't give you a 2% raise every year, it's the eroding of the value of your dollar. Okay. It feels like things are getting way more expensive because your dollar keeps eroding. My parents bought their house in 1973 for $25,000. It's now worth almost $430,000. It keeps going up. Their income didn't go up. That's the erosion of their buying power. If they sold that home, they couldn't even buy a comparable home. So nothing changed. Nothing got better for them. Yeah, someone would say they own their home. So someone would say, oh my God, they could get $430,000 out of the house, but they need a home and they couldn't even buy a comparable home for that. So no, they didn't become wealthier. They became poor. That was the erosion of their buying power. Okay, if that $430,000 was just sitting in the S&P or sitting in Bitcoin, right? And they would have put it into Bitcoin in 2019, 2017. Do you realize where their wealth would be? If they threw $430,000 into XRP in 2020, do you realize where that money would be? Now, do you see the switch and why the elites went from, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, I see it. We're at 120% debt to income ratio. There's more debt than there is income. They're just going to print this money to an oblivion. They're going to lower rates. At some point, they're going to lower rates, guys. There's always an inversion. That's all there is. There's going to be peace and there's going to be prosperity. Okay, now all the things that Trump is doing, this has a reverberation effect. We're going to start to feel the effects of everything he's doing, probably back into fourth quarter, going into first quarter. That's why I think the bull run might extend a little bit, because all this positive stuff that's happening, the tariffs, all these things going on with the peace deals and all that stuff. It's not like, imagine a boat going down. So I was in the Coast Guard, right? And if you're ever seen right before a storm, it's clear, it's glass. When you're going forward, it's glass. But if you look behind you, if a helicopter was above you, there's a ripple that goes and eventually hits the shore. Okay, all these things Trump is doing, there's a ripple that hasn't hit yet. So Jerome Powell is doing the based on data right now. He's not looking forward on what might happen. And by lowering interest rates right now, stimulating the economy, tariff income coming in, public and private sector coming together, innovation and technology, we'd see a massive boom in our economy. So you have to prepare. You have to prepare that Jerome Powell may not lower rates, and it's going to spook the living shit out of the markets. But guess what? Again, if you're a Warren Buffett style investor, you buy more. If you understand what you're invested in, you celebrate the fact that the economy, that he's holding this and it's lowering your valuable assets that you can buy more of. Because guess what? People are going to be pissed when they're trying to buy a $10 XRP and $180,000 Bitcoin. They're going to be even more pissed when they miss the boat, when they're buying $1,000 XRP as we go into 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now, right? Or $1 million Bitcoin. And those are not predictions. I'm just giving you potentials that could happen, right? But yeah, I think XRP could maybe go to anywhere from $5 to $10. It's a pretty wide range, but there's a lot of different factors that play into that. I think Bitcoin could go anywhere from 150 to 180, but I don't give a shit about this present moment. I'm focused on 2030, baby. That's the generational shifter. I want a bear market. I want a deep bear market 2026, 2027, 2028. I'm not where I need to be in order for my family to have generational wealth yet. We got financially free, and I would say rich, from 2020 to 2025. Big difference between wealthy. Wealthy is when you're just sitting there and the money is making money. We're there. The flywheel is there. I need about another 4 years to feed this flywheel, man. And that's putting us in the top 1% in the population, right? But that's the cool thing. I did it, and you can do it too. I lost everything because of the pandemic, except my crypto. I didn't touch it, and that's what saved me. I held on to this asset that I felt would be here, and it appreciated 800% in my XRP, 200% on my Bitcoin. And then I got really strategic. Cash flow. I moved it into deflationary assets. I kept increasing my cash flow. I put money into my cash value life insurance policy, creating a leverage component. I have leverage for my Bitcoin and my life insurance. I use low leverage to buy what? Cash flow. Okay. It's an ecosystem. You have to have a financial ecosystem. I'm not saying that mine will work for you, but it's worked for me. Okay. I have a plan, a strict game plan, a strict budget. So how do I take profits? Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. This is our demo account here. Puts all your cryptos in one place, guys. Okay. I'm the co-founder and creator of this. This is my company. Okay. You have all your exchanges in one place. The cool thing about this is we don't hold your keys or crypto. It's just an interface. So when I'm traveling, connecting to Wi-Fi's, this is what I use. They cannot hack this. It's just data. That's all it is. But imagine seeing everything in one place. You can see the markets. You see the markets are deep in the red right now. We got Bitcoin dominance at 59%. ETH is down 2%. Bitcoin. So you can see a snapshot. You can see your whole portfolio, and you can set a profit plan. Boom. There you go. See the profit plan? You build out your profit plan. You're like, well, how do I do that? We got you. Go get started. How-to videos. Boom. We break down, and then you're going to see it pop up right here in 3, 2, 1. Boom. We have actual direct customer service that you can work with to help you with that stuff. Okay. If you go here as well, look at all these exchanges you can connect, guys. And then you can put your cryptos in manually as well. So it's an interface, keeps you organized. Down below, you can get 30 days for free. Or if you're watching this on social, click the link, get 30 days for free. So I love you guys very, very much. Like I said, I'm only telling you exactly what I'm doing. The strategies worked very, very well for me. So now I'm in this cash flow amazing system where I have cash flow coming in every single week, right? I got my debts and non-negotiables lean and mean. Okay. I take that cash flow, high dollar cost every single day into Bitcoin and XRP every single day. Okay. The last couple of days has been really fun. Like I celebrate red. So I was like, yes, when I woke up and XRP was under $3, I bought a little bit. Yesterday it was under $3. I bought a little bit. Today it's at 280. I bought a little bit. Okay. When it goes up, I have my exit target set. Boom. I calmly exit on the way up. I'm exiting 50% of altcoins, all other cryptos but Bitcoin. Bitcoin I'm holding forever. It's a bank. And I'm not going to get my biggest bang for my buck on Bitcoin, but it grows 50% every year. People are like, Bitcoin, you can't get rich off Bitcoin. What are you talking about? What asset grows 50% every single year? Now that will come down as the supply and volatility and all that stuff. But right now, if you look backwards, it grows 50% every year. What asset can you grow 50% every year? And then what asset can you grow 50% every year and then do low leverage to buy what? Cash flow, right? To be your own bank. And so you have to start thinking differently. We got to start to rewire our brain. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. God bless you. Love you.